we have the great honor to have here today a great friend, because I know Faisal since a lot of years, from Doha, when I was working there. And he's the editor-in-chief of the Gulf Times, an amazing magazine. Thank you, Faisal, for coming.
Thank you for inviting me to this great event.
Yeah, great. So, Faisal, I have a few questions for you, because I know you are passionate about sustainability.
Yes.
And I would like to compare Italian sustainability with the Gulf sustainability. Sure. Okay? We try this. Okay. So, why are culture, art, and diplomacy increasingly important in today's global landscape? And how do they complement traditional foreign policy?
Yeah, sure. It's a question that is close to my heart. Culture diplomacy is a form of diplomacy that bring nation together. So we've been working in this arena for such a long time. So giving a good example, I think, is the Islamic Art Museum in Qatar. So Islamic Art Museum of Qatar, it's not Islam as only a religion. It's an Islam about geography. So what you see when you enter there, the museum, it kind of like summarizes more than 1,400 years of three religions working, living together and creating together. So you have Christianity, Muslims, and Judaism also that have lived together. For example, in Andalusia, what they have created there. So so culture diplomacy and art diplomacy brings people together. And it doesn't have a language, it doesn't have a color. So it brings people together. So this is very important. And as with I will say a very strange and crazy world we live in now, what you see in social media and in media. So for sure, art and culture. If I will tell you like my experience on that or my analysis on that. So remember old days, 17th, 16th century, you have the West and then you have the East. So you have travelers, Orientalisms, who they go to Damascus, they go to Baghdad, and what do? They do their art, they do their writing, and then they come back. So people view the East from their eyes. But was it the right thing? Because if you see some of the paintings, you will see, women with lions sitting there, right? But there is no lion there, right? So it's more an imagination. And that piece of art have shaped the narrative of the East and the West. Yeah. And then after that, if you go to Hollywood's movies, so Hollywood movies, we did a study. You have 1,000 scenes in Hollywood movies, from the movie Casablanca, Lawrence of Arabia, and many movies, and even comedians' movies. So they pursue the East or the Arabs in a way in those movies. We did a study on 1,000 shots, right, of 100 years of Hollywood. 95% will show either they are thieves, or either they are womanizers, or either they are a drunk, or either now the modern thing is terrorism, right? So media and art and film diplomacy and culture diplomacy, shape the narrative. So if you talk about Italy, people love Italy, right? The brand Italy, what does it show you? Fashion, beauty, nice food, hospitality people. How does this came up? Of course, with art and public diplomacy and culture diplomacy. So that's really where,
Of course.
yeah.
But with ignorance, they say pizza, pasta,
Yeah.
and pistol,
Yeah.
So also
That's
Italy
right.
is a double way meaning. So, and Faisal, what is the significance of digital diplomacy in the modern era, and how can it be better leveraged to build bridges between nations?
I think digital diplomacy or diplomacy has to be digitalized very much. So, the name of your, I liked the name, by the way, of your event, yes, digital. I've been 2 days training to learn it, yeah? So you need to treat diplomacy, messaging, very like business. So sometimes I want you to do, everybody to do this practice by going to embassies, Instagrams, or anything. So boring. Either one guy receiving another guy official or a picture of. So to measure digital diplomacy, you have to align with the messaging of your country. This is one. So I will say, you are an activist in art and culture. So that's aligned with the vision of Italy, right? And the sustainability. So there is no, the digital diplomacy in embassies and governmental account have to reflect that. It should not be personalized about the person. It should be by the initiative. So an example, I have posted, I made a small video about the post, right? And I had 1,800 followers, viewers. So that's a good example of, a digital diplomacy that need to be leveraged. So that's the new thing, I think.
Thank you. And what more can Qatar and Italy, you think, or maybe the wider Gulf region and Europe, do to deepen their cooperation in areas like sustainability, innovation, and cultural exchange? What do you think?
Look, by the way, maybe a lot of people doesn't know this, but the biggest partner in Europe for Qatar is Italy. Yes. Yeah, this is the number one. So if you talk about investment, Qatar have invested more than 5.5 billion in the economic here, and hospitality, fashions, tourism. And also, I think also there is a lot of initiative on the culture and museums. Yes, so yeah. And also the embassy in Qatar is doing very good because they are one of the few embassies that focus on culture. So you have a lot of concerts, but I really like your initiative, Valer, to tell you the truth. I really adore what you have done. I think sustainability is a way to go. And we have to learn from each other in terms of, for example, the way of living. We live in a very hot weather, but we are blessed with energy. And I will say affordable energy, but energy also is not sustainable, right? Renewable energy. So that part is also very important, and Qatar is taking a big part on that. But I think we can learn from each other in terms of governmental policies. We need to have more incentive for companies to jump to the second level of sustainability. I've been here in the session yesterday, and I saw very good examples and even the session that was there, how tourism and sustainability, because you can build the biggest buildings, but if they are not sustainable and city are not sustainable, and we have a very good legacy, that's a very good example. We had the World Cup 2022. Yeah, exactly. So normally, when countries have big events, after that they will have a recession. Yeah, because the countries have spent so much money, overstretched with the economy, but I think we have done very well in terms of city sustainability. This is one. All the infrastructure which was built during that is being used, so it's not like bad assets, and it's kind of like could put Qatar on the capital sport map. So I think sustainability also is more about planning. What you're gonna do, and also the challenge of the supply chain. And we are a country, originally, Qatar and the Gulf is always about trading between India and the Middle East and Europe, right? So that's the Silk Route. So we are all about trading. So can you really source things like before? And we see this challenging with this geopolitics. So I think sustainability plays a big part on de-risking nations. Yeah.
I think you can have a pivotal role in this, because you are really in between, East and West. And so it's very, very compliant, of course. Yes, and my next question is on the FIFA World Cup 2022, which, as a matter of fact, shaped global narratives about Qatar and the broader Gulf. What lasting impact did it have on perception of the region? You just said that it helped infrastructures to be much more greener. So can we say now Doha is more of a green city, more sustainable, and have more?
I think more than sustainable, I will say more connectivity.
Okay.
I think that's the right word as a positioning.
Okay.
So the World Cup is a real big story. In my early talking with you, I was talking about the narrative or the perception. So the World Cup was not only for Qatar. If you go also, you just open the CNN, whatever, people see us as a one nation.
Yeah.
Even though we are many countries. We always hear bad stories. We are not contributing to the world civilization. We are the Arabs are exporting problems.
Yeah.
Is this really true, or this is what the media have shaped for many years? So the World Cup was a chance.
Yes.
And we had a tough 10 years of bad media and and cyber attack. And what does it change? I think there is a huge perception changing on the area. What is the importance of the Gulf? The Gulf is a very big player in world sustainability, I will say. 1/3 of the energy of the world comes from this region, between Saudi, Kuwait, and Qatar. The biggest gas field comes from there. But that's not really the bigger part of it. So because you can have a lot of money, like rich families, and then second generation, they have no money, right? So it's how do we optimize our wealth? And I think the region have optimized it in the right way. If you have energy, a lot of countries has energy, but maybe their economy is bankrupt. Yeah, and there is many examples without mentioning names. But if a small country like Qatar can manage to export LNG, which was not exportable. LNG was not exportable, and light cities in Europe and light cities in Japan. It means that you are on the connectivity part, on the connectivity.
I think that's the big change, connectivity.
Yes.
Because also, you know, connectivity is part of the innovation process.
Yeah.
And you cannot have sustainability without innovation.
Connectivity, exactly.
And connectivity,
exactly.
of course. So, what are the most common misconceptions about the wealthy Gulf countries, and how do you respond to them?
We are the biggest Ferrari buyer. I think this is good for the economy, right? No, I think there is also a very big conception. The Arab are throwing their money, especially the Gulf, buying everything, not counting everything, and they buy trophy buildings and trophy this without I'm telling you, 10 years of bad news during the World Cup. But I have a good story.
Because they say you don't produce, you just buy.
Yeah, just buy. Yeah, so that's not really. So I have a very good story. You know, our airline, and it's a difficult sector. Airline is a very difficult sector. From nowhere, our airport received 40 million passengers. Okay. The airline have declared 2.5 billion this year, 7.5 Qatari riyal to be precise. Okay, and then in the news during President Trump visit in Qatar that, Qatar have thrown 180 billion on Boeing. And, you know, only people who are from the industry, they will know the detail of this. So specifically, Boeing and Airbus lives in a very golden years, by the way, because Boeing produce only 38 aircraft a month. Yeah? You're very lucky. They choose who to sell to because they want to sell it to people who are companies who are healthy in finance. They don't want to sell it to an airline that's not doing well, right? So during the US, the tariff increasing, many countries have canceled buying airplanes from Boeing.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so Qatar jumped on that order and picked it all. Today, you can sell it more, you can rent it, because the world is short of airplanes. But what does the media tell you? Or at least the bad media. I'm from the good media. It tells you that the Gulf countries, the Arab, are throwing their money. They don't know. So this is how, you know, yeah, this is how, yeah.
The press, again, the press can do,
price,
you know.
You're right, the price of success,
Yes,
you're right.
yes,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, absolutely. And how do you think education and academic partnerships support long-term understanding between Europe and the Gulf region?
This also, which I call it education diplomacy, right? Diplomacy or education exchange. I think Europe and Italy should do more on that, because you know you have great universities in art and excavation, because you have a very old nation, right? Engineering, wherever, but I don't see there is no joint. How will I say, joint campus universities opening a lot, especially I don't see them from Europe. You see them from other parts of the world. So an investment need to be there. So that's really, I think it's more for the private sector to investigate on that. But ask me why. Why? Why? Because we our nation, 2/3 of our nations are youth.
Oh, yes, you have have a young population
very young
compared to us, which
yeah.
we have a very old
Yeah.
population.
No, but so that's an opportunity
Yes,
for businesses,
of course.
for private sector universities. So exchanging idea, researching together. And you know, Italy and Qatar is doing a lot, by the way, in the international scenes. Like the aid to Gaza, they are working together on climate changing initiative and water shortage worldwide. Those kind of thinking of sustainability also can enhance that, can enhance that relationship more. Yeah.
Because sustainability is at the base of most of the processes. Also, the desalinization of the water. That I mean, this can do a huge difference in all of that. I have maybe a few questions, and which I love very much. How can art and creative industries serve as a catalyst for deeper cross-cultural understanding?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, the siren. So,
Yeah.
someone at the hospital.
Yeah.
So, how can art and creative industries serve as a catalyst for deeper cross-cultural understanding?
Yeah. Again, it's a youth society, young society with a lot of creativity. We have, for example, in Qatar, the Design Week. We have, the Design Week, which is, I think this is where we met, yeah? Yeah, this is where we met. And also, we have a very beautiful initiative is to bring the Arab young artists to Qatar. And also we have Qatar participate heavily in Venice in the Banali event.
Okay.
So I think more events, more institution, bilateral relationship, which, and museums need to talk with each other more. Joint excavation, not only in Qatar, but in the Arabian Gulf, joint project. You have a lot of undiscovered places. In Iraq, now Iraq is it is on the route in the right direction. Hopefully Syria is undiscovered in terms of archaeology and excavation. So there is a huge opportunity that Qatar, we always say that Qatar will provide accessibility with credibility.
Accessibility with credibility.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's what we are good with our partner. Yeah.
And you are really advanced in technologies.
Yeah.
I know you are. So I have two more questions.
Sure.
One is women,
Yes.
and the other one is politics.
Yes.
So, the women, what role do women play in the transformation of the Gulf region, and how can their voices be amplified international, Mr. Al-Mudahka?
Yeah, sure. We are lucky that at least in Qatar and even in the Gulf region, it's not only about women, it's about family. So that's really very important. And I also think that women had a lot of very bad media because of this bad narrative. The burqa and this, and this is what you see if you Google, this is what you're gonna see. But women, especially in our younger generation in Qatar, I will talk about Qatar specifically, and even in the region. This is what you see now in Saudi. This is what you see around the region. You have 2/3. In Qatar we have more women engineering than guys. Guys are lazy. They want to do finance now and marketing. Life is changing, right? Yeah, we have more engineering. On the workforce, we have a lot of leaders. So I think it's, if you think about it, we are a very young nation. So this region was unlivable. Nobody want to live there because it's hot, no water, no greenery. And then you think about it, the oil was discovered on the late 30s, after the World War II. And then 70s, the independent of those. 70s, imagine, and nation-wise, this is 70s. So women with men were hands in hands on the old times when life was very hard, and now in new days. So, for example, if you think about it, my mother was an English teacher. English teacher, yeah. Yeah. My wife also is a teacher. My daughter is studying law now in SAWAS. And her ambition is also to protect women's wealth or women's businesses, right? So, the Gulf is going through a social development, and things takes time. But I think we are in the right direction, and I think also it's very important that we also promote family values. Keeping families together I think it's more the concept that we are going through. Yeah.
When I was in Qatar, I was very impressed by the link family has in between. I thought it was only us Italian, that had this strong feeling of family, but now the Arab world is, very, very strong roots in family. And, Mr. Al-Mudahka, I know that during the President Trump's visit to Qatar lately, very lately, an event watched closely across the globe, of course, you were live on Al Jazeera for over 5 hours. What was the significance of that moment, I would like to know, and what did it reveal about the role of media leadership during high-stakes diplomacy?
I am a biased, okay? I am a biased. Again, I have used that moment because it's a historic moment. And I think it's a historic moment of many years of hard work. So he visited Saudi, visited Qatar, and he visited UAE. And I think it has been noticeable now, as I was telling you before, that the Gulf is playing a very big part on sustainability, keeping peace in the world, supplying energy, making sure security is also available, that does not affect or cause another war, mediate also, which plays. And I think think tanks, researcher is noticing this region. And the region also has a lot of wealth. And this wealth joint investment can create a benefit for the US or for Europe or for... So that's why I think it was a very important moment. So, and Al Jazeera is an amazing platform.
Yes, I saw you. I watched.
Yeah,
So this is Faisal. Oh my God, I know him. But it was very long and it was very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. We had it minutes by minutes, event by event. Yeah. The hope in the region was also very high. Yes, President Trump have lift the blockade or the siege, the economical siege on Syria.
Oh, yes.
So, a news today, that's media, a news that was announced in Saudi made people cry and happy in Damascus. All right? And why is that? Because media focus on the narrative, right? And then politicians form the policies. So that's why media is very important. very important, and people has to be responsible. Him coming to Qatar, there was also a very big hope in the region that this visit will at least stop the war in Gaza and aid will go there. So again, as I told you, the region, or Qatar specifically, can create the access and can ensure the credibility. But we need our friends like Italy, Europe, America to stand with that.
Yes,
on that,
to stand and to join.
Yes.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Faisal.
dear.
It was
Thank
an
you.
honor interviewing
Thank
you,
you.
and thank you for your time,
Pleasure,
and
pleasure.
thank you for coming
Yeah.
to Rome.
Really, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.